Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Hello, and welcome to Where Energy Meets the Divine. I'll be your host for the next hour or so, somewhere around there. I wanted to talk today a little bit before I go to the phone lines, and please like and subscribe below. Thank you so much. I wanted to talk about intuition in terms of the fact that everybody has what some people consider this magical ability, but everyone is naturally intuitive. And there's certain things that professional intuitives do, and I can't speak for all of them. I can speak for myself. I actually don't have a lot of deep personal relationships with a lot of professional psychics. I've been very, very busy in my own life, in my own world, to venture out and have lots of conversations with them. But of course, you can study and learn from others. They're professional psychics and intuitives. But I teach a lot. I teach a lot on the topic. Even in all of my private sessions, I teach my clients how to connect to their own insight, because they can't ask me every question all the time. I'm busy enough in my professional practice that it takes a while to see me. So I like to give that understanding about one's own intuition. Number one, it's really easy to read a complete stranger. It is. And you could start practicing on that, especially if you've already taken a lot of classes. I highly recommend practice. So reading a complete stranger is a million times easier than reading people in your family. But if you've read people in your family and people you're connected to with accurately, that means you're doing a great job. You know how to quiet your mind, get away from your brain, connect to what I like to call the authentic emotional response system, which is located outside of your body in the second layer of the auric field. So I like to rest in my lower abdominal area. It's something I naturally do when I work. I don't even have to try. It just naturally happens for me. In my personal life, I work on resting in the lower half of my body so I can be connected to my higher self, my higher form of consciousness, what's in my highest good, which allows us to have beautiful connection to our intuition and create accuracy within the field of this multisensory experience, which everyone has the ability to at least read for themselves. But we can also read for others too, if we want to, and if they want us to. So it's really important to stop listening to the logical mind. It is not a good source of information, even though humanity has trained human beings for centuries to only listen to logic and to ignore insight, which is a mistake. It's a big mistake in my belief system. And of course, people start to open up to this idea that logic isn't the answer or the full answer. It's a sliver, perhaps, of an answer. If you're doing something that requires logic, I was putting a vacuum together that I just received that I just ordered and received. And I needed to use my logical mind to look at the instructions and the diagram so I could plug it all together, right? But other than that, logic is really not a super helpful tool. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your mind. Your mind is beautiful. It's amazing. When you leave your body, your mind will not go with you. The energy of your third eye and the energy of your seventh chakra, which interface in the brain, will go with you. All of your chakras and your auric field, all of that wonderful energy will go with you when you leave your body and move to another dimension. That will definitely happen for you. If you could learn to not be so reactive to the mind, not listen to everything it says. An example that I could give you that recently in my personal life, everyone knows I have a dog, Charles, because I talk about him all the time. I have a large family. I have 3 daughters and 6 grandchildren as well. But I spend a lot of my time with Charles. We hang out together. We go on walks together. When you have a dog, they hang out with you. And it's fun. He's in the room right now, sleeping. I'm recording this on January 22nd, and it's about 8:11 p.m. and his bedtime is 8. That's when he wants to go to bed. He starts staring at me like, please, let's go to bed. Because for whatever reason, he won't go to sleep without me. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to bed at 8 o'clock. It's not happening. So, but Charles is a very picky eater, has been since he was quite young. And I feed him excellent food, like I have all my animals and family, because I consider my animals the family, right? Food grade type of food for them. And when he was a puppy, one of the vets told me to be really careful about his intake because she did not want him to be below 57 pounds. And so that's kind of my rule. Can't be below 57 pounds, but it's engraved in my logical mind. He can't be below 57 pounds. I don't think he's ever been below 57 pounds, but my mind goes, oh, he didn't eat his food. Oh, he didn't, and recently, except for today, he finally did eat 2 meals. He has been a good eater, and I do weigh him. And recently he was like 60 pounds. I don't think he ever got up to 60 pounds before. He watches his diet. I don't know. He likes to be active. So if we're not super active and it's freezing cold outside in the Northwest, so he's getting like, he did get 2 walks yesterday, but only 1 walk yesterday for 40 minutes because I'm cold. He has a coat on, of course, his natural coat, and then a coat on top of it. So he's fine. He doesn't care about the temperature, but I do. I don't like to be cold. At any rate, over this last week where he hasn't been eating as consistently as I would like him to do, I've been in my brain overanalyzing, processing, trying different foods, throwing away a lot of food because it's fresh or frozen and can't stay out forever. And I've left it out too long, begging him to eat his food, and he won't. And then today, so this has been going on for about a week, today I hear out of the blue, because I was running around the house going, Charles is such a great eater. Oh my gosh, Charles, thank you for eating your food, trying this reverse psychology on him so he would eat the beautiful elk that I cooked for him, or the venison that I actually had to throw away yesterday because he wouldn't eat it, or the frozen food I threw away from last night because he wouldn't eat it. So I was using this reverse psychology. So my energy was a little elevated. And when your energy particles are elevated, like from dancing around the house, saying positive things about Charles's diet, you connect to your insight. You connect to it. And I heard clear as a bell, kind of interrupted my chant. He's fine. Relax. It's okay. And I went, oh, you mean I need to let go? I need to surrender. I need to stop trying to force feed this animal, And so I relaxed. And sure enough, he ate both of his meals today. So what I'm trying to get across to you is, as long as you listen to the ego-driven brain, which is a fear-driven experience, you're going to be far away from your intuition. You're not going to hear, see, or feel what you need to experience. That is the most authentic information you could possibly get about any situation is intuitive. And intuition is calm, it's simple, it's direct, it's spontaneous. I'm just using different words, which it can be all of those things. But when you hear it, see it, or feel it come across for you, which I promise you, everyone has had an intuitive experience. Definitely everyone has. But sometimes it's so soft and calm, people will ignore it. They will just pretend like it was their mind. But the mind is not simple. It's not calm. It's complicated. It's threatening. It's fearful. Even though I've never taken Charles to the vet for his weight or, the fact that he's not eating, I act like I have, like, oh my gosh, he won't eat his food again. So, but that's when you were in the mind and we're overthinking, we're overanalyzing. If you can let go of your brain, which I think means to ignore it, unless it is really something you need to pay attention to, which I doubt it. I think the universe will tell you in a very kind, loving, supportive, calm, simplistic way if there's something that you need to pay attention to. And until that happens, I think you should ignore it. And I'm not saying ignore common sense. If you have pain in your body, yeah, please go to the doctor. Yes, please get a checkup. I think everyone should get regular checkups. I think there's nothing wrong with modern medicine taking a peek in our body and examining our eyes, our ears, our nose, our labs. I think that's healthy. We're lucky we have access to an aspect that can look inside of our body for us. I think it's a good thing. But being freaked out stressed, anxious, fearful have nothing to do with intuition. And I think intuition is 1,000 times more accurate than the logical mind. So start playing with ignoring your logical mind and start getting your energy elevated. Like maybe try some reverse psychology on your children or on yourself. What if everything's okay and you run around the house a couple times and leap in the air and dance a jig, and then notice what comes into your awareness? Because that will most likely be the most authentic communication you could ever receive. So me letting go of, why doesn't my dog eat his food? And I already told the universe, okay, next dog is going to love my cooking. It's going to love everything I put down. I think of my, I have 2 daughters that have dogs, and both of those dogs would eat anything you gave them. They would. And so whenever I get a second dog, I have asked the universe to make sure that it will eat whatever I make for it, whatever I create, whatever I buy at the store. Because of course I will create and purchase very healthy food. So that's my recommendation, to play with this concept of fearful, harsh, demanding, unkind communication is not intuitive. Intuition will never scare you. It knows what would frighten you, because intuition comes from your higher self, your soul, your God consciousness. So it knows what would scare you. It knows from a deep sense of knowing what would create anxiety for you. So it would never intentionally do that. It doesn't believe in that. It believes in higher vibration consciousness, which is calm, loving, compassionate, and a little bit surprising. Like when I heard, he's fine. Just kind of leave him alone. I was surprised. I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, I have not been doing that for 5 days at all. I've been harassing him to eat his food. Okay, I'm going to go to the phone lines now and start listening to our callers' questions. I will be answering them. Keep in mind, and so if you're trying to make a big decision, I'm not going to answer your question right away, because a lot of people thankfully leave us questions from around the world, which I'm so grateful and appreciative of. And it can take months for me to get to your question. So be patient. Wait if you can. If you're waiting for surgery or something of that nature, wait, if you can, until you get my answer. Okay.
Hi, Marie. My name is Megan Ulrichs. I'm calling in from Montana. I recently lost my dad in November. We had a very close relationship. He and my mom were soulmates, the most beautiful, unconditionally loving parents one could ever ask for. And they represented a beautiful marriage. My mom has dementia. We currently had just moved her into a memory care facility that's wonderful. And my sister and I visit her about every other day just to help her sort of navigate and to spread moments of joy together and just also soak in her beautiful, loving energy. My question is, with my dad, I have this sense that he's maybe already moved into another life. I don't know, if this is even going to make sense, but I pray to him. I talk to him daily. I cherish the memories I have with him, and I thank him and express so much gratitude. And recently, in the last month, I haven't felt his presence. And I'm wondering how, how do I navigate that? There's a part of me that's thinking, oh, this is beautiful. He's already moved into his next life.
Yeah.
We'll meet again someday.
Yeah.
And then the other part of me is thinking, well, I want to connect. I want to hear from you. So what do you have to say about that? And if you could just maybe tap into his energy or his spirit and offer any wisdom, that would be so welcomed, so appreciated. I wish you a most beautiful remainder of your week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Megan. And I'm so sorry about your dad's passing and your mother's dementia. I'm glad she's in a memory care facility, because caring for people with dementia is complicated and difficult. And it's nice for them to be safe while they're surrounded with people who know how to work with that population. So, no, your dad has not moved into another dimension. He's in the heavens. He's waiting for your mother. He's not going anywhere. He's waiting for her. I think she's declining. And sometimes when we move people into memory care facilities, it's because they've declined. And when you reach a certain point of dimension, the decline can speed up pretty rapidly. So your dad's not going anywhere. I think what happened, and this happens a lot when people have lost a loved one, it can be a high vibrational experience because there's so much love. Everyone's talking about all the good times about that person. People are sending flowers and there's memorials to attend. So there's a high vibration occurring for most people when it is, shortly after or during the time of loss. And then those things go away. We don't have as many people talking about it. We're not getting flowers anymore. We're not feeling love from others. It doesn't mean they don't love us, but they've moved on. They've come and gave their condolences. And so your energy isn't as high as it could be, especially every single time you go visit your mom, which might even lower your vibration a little bit. Maybe you wish she wasn't in a memory care center other than she's safe. You might be feeling sad watching her decline, which is going to lower your frequency. And then you can't feel your dad because your dad's living in a much higher vibration than Earth. So if you want to have a connection with him or feel it, you have one always, you're going to have to get happy first. And that means you probably won't be thinking about him or your mom. You'll need to get happy about something unrelated. I would do this before you go to the facility where your mom is, because I don't think your dad's moving an inch from her. I think he's staying very close to her. But because he's on the other side and his energy is really big, you could still feel him, even when, the majority of his energy is in the facility. You could still feel him. He doesn't have to be standing right next to you to have a connection with you. But I do think if you could think of something unrelated, like go swing on a swing set before you go to the memory care facility, if you can. You and your sister could talk about great times and eat popcorn, or I don't know, watch a funny movie, watch funny things that will make you laugh your head off, and which can be different for different people. I mean, not all comics make me happy. Really smart comedians who talk about politics from a really healthy, funny vantage point are great for me. And then comedians that don't use swear words, actually, although I'm not against swear words, make me happy. So you're going to find your own groove of what brings joy for you. And then when you go to the facility to hang out with your mother, obviously your dad's there. He's not leaving her. That's what he told me immediately. I'm not leaving her side, not going anywhere. He's waiting for her. He's waiting for her. So that's what I think. I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much.
Hey, Marie. My name's Erica from Canada. I've been listening to your stuff and studying it and rewatching it and practicing it, and it's been such a blessing to get all this information and wisdom and be able to become a better person because of it. So thank you so much for that. Um, I've been working so hard on myself my whole entire life. I feel like when I watch, as I've been watching your stuff, when you talk about the soul and the consciousness and that so resonates with me. It's this feeling that's beyond this human experience, or I guess it is a part of it, but it's just bigger than that. Anyway, I feel like I'm here doing this like soul school. Like I feel like I came to Earth to do soul school.
Yeah.
Seriously. Just like a lot of, and I've always I love self-development work and I love all of that. I'm a coach by career. Yeah. So anyway, I guess my question is, what is how can I heal my second chakra? Essentially, I think it's my second chakra. I've got some skin issues coming up on the shins. They're not going away. I've gone to the doctor. I got some blood work done. There is some stuff going on in my kidneys, I think. And obviously, I'm going through the medical profession to get all that tested and figure it out. So, all that being said, I'm just wondering, I feel like I'm at a precipice, at the top, just at the pinnacle of a big, huge transformation. I've had addiction for most of my life, and I'm starting to really become a new person that can handle kicking it. I'm really, really excited. I'm terrified. It's very uncomfortable and unfamiliar, but I know it's way better for me. And I'm really excited about all the potentials in the future. Yeah, that was just a lot of information. So any insight into my situation or that second chakra, that would be great. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to share your stuff with us. It's so life-changing and helpful. You are a blessing to have on this earth. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you for doing all that hard work. And it's also okay to let go and kind of surrender. Like, what if you've done enough hard work? What if you can give yourself a break? And when was the last time you told yourself how amazing you are and how precious you are and how wonderful you are? Because that can go a long way for us to move into alignment, to kick habits, to really be connected to our authentic, amazing, and beautiful selves just from self-nurturing and self-love, which is critical. Kind of the opposite of a lot of addiction programs want us to be hard on ourselves. I understand the concept. It makes sense to a certain point, but I think when we love ourselves, we feel more valuable and worthy to have happier, more wonderful experiences in our life. We feel that we deserve it. The shins are not covered by the second chakra. So skin is covered by the seventh. When I stared at your seventh, it's not taking a lot of energy in. It governs the neurological system, so part of the brain, and then all the nerves throughout the whole body, and all the skin deep down into the dermis, very deep in the body. It's from the seventh vortex. And that seventh chakra is about, for all of us, allowing ourselves to be unconditionally loved by the divine. And you've been hard on yourself, really hard on yourself. People who work hard, and I can relate to this historically, who work really hard to be good people or work really hard to be spiritual or whatever, they're working hard against themselves, not thinking that they're enough. It's hard on their body, and it can cut off the energy that needs to come in from the heavens into your physical form. So could you imagine and allow yourself to feel the divine in whatever realm of experience you want to imagine, that the universe is unconditionally loving you, even if you never kicked an addiction, like that you're so lovable, so worthy, deserving, that no matter what you do, if you don't change a thing about yourself, you are pure perfection, you are pure divinity, and you are completely loved, adored, and cherished. That's really the energy that needs to be created to allow the seventh chakra to absorb light. You need to see yourself in that way. You need to feel yourself in that way. You need to believe in yourself in that way, even for just moments at a time. Now, the kidneys are connected to the second chakra. So you are correct about that. And that's a bigger issue, I think, than skin, the kidneys. What causes kidney problems, adrenal problems, bladder problems is fear, having a lot of fear, a lot of fight or flight, a lot of running high frequency energy, which is historically what you've done. That could be why you had some addictions, to just stop the high running energy, so that you could relax a little bit. There is a supplement, but you will need to ask a medical professional, just because I'm not a licensed nurse any longer. I'm not a naturopath. I'm not a physician. I don't know your history or what you have taken or what you're allergic to, or if you are on prescription medication. Supplements can affect prescription medication. So we need to educate a lot of our pharmacies about herbs. And certainly in my state, they are quite educated about it. So 5-HTP. I think that would be great for you. It does relax the neurological system, and it kind of can reduce anxiety. It can be a mood elevator as well. And then I don't mean your mood tends to be phonetic, where it goes, we want you to be calmer and more relaxed. And I know things have improved drastically in your life. You're doing a fantastic job, but maybe some 5-HTP. So ask a herbologist, a naturopath, an acupuncturist, somebody who's licensed with herbs and vitamins about 5-HTP. It's something you can buy over the counter. I don't know what the dosage would be for you or how it's dosed. Like, you take a certain amount for a little while and up it. I don't know how it works. So check on someone for that. I think the 5-HTP could be helpful for you. And then be kind to yourself, exactly the way you are right now. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nancy. I'm calling from Salem, Oregon. I saw your interview with Alex Ferrari in the Next Level Soul podcast, and I resonate with everything you say. I am amazed by your ability. And so I just wanted to call and see if you had any insight for me in regards to some issues that I have and just to give me some clarity. So I come from a family that has a lot of generational trauma. I've had a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I am married to someone that I believe I'm trauma bonded with. It's my husband. He's bipolar.
Okay.
And so I have inflammation that I've gone to the doctors for quite a few years now, and nothing comes back conclusive.
Good.
Everything comes back inconclusive.
Good.
I think it's just high cortisol levels. And so I've been working on that, take hormones, and take some medication here or there to just kind of keep my inflammation down. But I am in recovery for codependency. I've been in ACA for 3 years now, going on 3 years, and I do meditate. I'm doing the step work. I'm working really hard on that to be able to let go. So a little bit about me: I'm an artist. I going back to school for children's book illustration.
Fun.
And I also started embroidery, cross stitch, and that has really helped me be able to calm down in the evenings. I actually want to be a designer of cross stitch. And so, but I'm also know I have some intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the raising my vibration sounds like is the way
It's the
to
way.
go. And I see
Right.
that you have classes and that I would like to get started understanding more about being able to raise my vibration and be in the present moment and ultimately just know what my sole purpose is. I would like to be aligned with what I'm meant to do on this earth in this lifetime. And so anything you can speak around that, I would really appreciate it. I love your work. I love you. And I'm so happy that I have found you because I don't think I have ever resonated with someone as deeply as I am with you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
You're very welcome, Nancy. And I've never heard of trauma bonded before. I mean, when you said codependency, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense because I don't want to be trauma bonded with anyone. I don't think it's healthy. I don't really care about generational trauma. I think it's interesting how people continually to look at generations and think they're responsible for partially healing that or no, 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 no. Have you ever thought about leaving this relationship? I mean, doesn't sound like it's a lot of fun. Sounds very difficult. Sounds complicated. You know, people don't have to stay married to someone because they're trauma bounded or bond or whatever you like. Never heard of that before in terms of I don't think that's a healthy thing, right? So I think it'll be fun for you to really focus on yourself in terms of not the traumas from your generation or from your family, not the traumas from your husband, but to really just be looking at yourself as an individual and not identify yourself as this trauma bonded person to ancestors or partnership. I think it would be nice if you kind of start caving that away and slicing that away from you because it's not healthy anyway. I mean, all of us could say we've had trauma. Everyone's had some form of trauma, but we choose our families before we incarnate so that we can be reminded of things that we want to heal. And for lots of other reasons too. Some people have really incredible first families, their family of origin that can have incredible experiences, but we choose them for really good reasons. And souls are intelligent creatures. These are not unaware beings who are making decisions before someone reincarnates to earth. They know what they're doing, but we are not responsible for other people's wounds or healing. Nobody is. Everyone is a soul. Everyone's powerful and they're responsible for their own healing. Everyone is responsible for their own healing. I think it's great that you're taking classes for illustrating children's books. I think that's a really great idea. Yeah, raising vibration is huge and significant. I will be teaching classes. I'm teaching right now some coaching courses, but I'll be teaching some classes in the spring, some of the 8-week courses. Like I'm going to teach a self-love course online. I've taught one in person, but I'm going to do it online. I'm going to teach a class about energy so that people can, I've taught it before. It's a really fun course, 8 weeks. I can't remember. Oh, the third one's going to be translating psychic information, because a lot of people who have their psychic gift open haven't necessarily figured out the translation part. And so I'm going to be teaching a class on that. I'll have those up on the website within the week or so. So I just want you to kind of take your energy away from these things that you spoke about that have defined you, and stop using the word trauma. What comes out of the fifth vortex, we attract, right? So it's the most powerful chakra in the body. And when you say something like trauma over and over and over again, you're attracting more traumas. You're not allowing those traumas to release and let go. I'm very careful, especially in my personal life, how I speak, how I communicate, because those words are going to come back. So I want to be mindful of the language that I'm using to describe myself, to describe my life, my circumstances, how I'm perceiving things and witnessing things. I think that's crucial if humanity could be more aware of what comes out of their throat chakra is actually coming back to them. Even when people, and this is not you, obviously, are saying mean things to others, those things come back to them. That's where the energy comes back. The negativity comes back to them. Whether they notice that now or in the future, that's what affects them and impacts them. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
I'm Madeline from Connecticut, and I have been struggling this week, and a friend recommended I start listening to your podcast, and I have been. And I have a question. Let me give you a little background first. My husband, who I thought was the love of my life, I'm 58 years old. I've been with him I've known him for 15 years, and we got married last year.
Oh.
And we have a great life together. There's literally nothing that I can think of that's an issue. We've been blessed in every way. And he came to me on Sunday and he said that he's not happy in our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's having some sort of crisis, or he just says that he loves me, he's not in love with me, and his heart's not full. Right. And I've cried, I'm devastated, but I need to support him and lean into whatever he needs from me. I want him to be happy. I can't try to manipulate
Right. No.
the outcome. And I want to ask, what is my highest good?
Great.
And how do I get there?
Great question.
In the most painless way possible.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for all your insight. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you, Madeline. And I'm so sorry that happened to you, that it's happening to you. I don't know exactly when it began, because again, you probably left this voicemail a little while ago. I do not want you to be focused on him. Yes, of course, he gets to make his own decisions. You can't manipulate him. You can't force anyone to change or stay. I don't think anyone should. I think people should be able to do what I love that he told you how he felt. I mean, thank goodness. He probably didn't start feeling this on a dime, right? It's not like he just woke up one day and went, oh, I'm not in love with my wife. I mean, chances are that's probably not what happened. It's something that he's thought about for a long time, or he was confused about his feelings. Or I know you haven't been married that long. If I understand, you've known each other for 15 years, but you've only been married for a year. So, he's been thinking about this for a little while, guaranteed. But what's in your highest good is that you focus on you. You take care of you. it's not in your best interest to put all, because I think you've been putting all of your energy into him since the moment you met him. I think he's been very lucky and blessed to have you just dumping your love, your unconditional everything, putting all your focus on him, making sure that he's happy. I think that's a mistake, by the way. I think it's a mistake to just love and adore a partner without loving and adoring yourself and checking in on yourself and what do you want and what makes you happy. And that's what I want you to do during this process is while he's told you what he wants to do, and you're obviously going to give him the freedom to do that, please do not spend time supporting him. No. In fact, I would look at how much of support have you gotten from him in the marriage, and look at it honestly. I want you to really look at it honestly. So that's what I would recommend, because you'll get clarity about what's in your highest good and what's in your best interest if you focus on yourself and not be focused on caretaking to this person who's told you that he's not in love with you any longer. You know, if things continue based on that, then there'll be a separation and a divorce, and you won't be in each other's lives regularly. People who get divorced, even if you're still madly in love with him, that doesn't mean you're going to spend time together at all. Most people don't. Most people are barely friends after they get divorced. It's not a common thing to maintain friendships. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to maintain friendships. I'm just saying it's not a common experience. So your job is to focus on you, because this probably didn't happen overnight. Is he having a midlife crisis? Potentially. That is a potential, but that doesn't mean that that's what's happening. He could have just recognized over a period of time that he's not in love with you, that he's not happy or he's not fulfilled. He may have known that he wasn't happy or he wasn't fulfilled, but he didn't know why or what the reasons are. But I want you to focus on yourself. That's going to affect you long term, to be happy, to be fulfilled, to make sure that you know if a partner is telling you the truth or not in the future, to choose a partner who's going to be just as devoted to you as they are to themselves. And that's what you need to learn, is to be just as devoted to you as you have been to him, because you've been so devoted. And I think when someone's so focused on the happiness of another person, they miss even the signs of the other person's unhappiness. They don't recognize their own perhaps dissatisfaction about anything, quite frankly. And that's why you can speak so highly of this incredible life you have together and nothing's wrong. But clearly in his eyes, something is wrong. And again, I don't think he had that realization overnight. So spend time with yourself, nurture yourself, care for you. That could help him to bring his attention to you, by the way. It could help to help him go, oh, wait a minute, what about you? Yeah, that'll be interesting. Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, Marie. This is so fun. I've never done a question on a podcast before on my computer. Anyway, this is Sharon from Washington State. My question today is about my son, who is 26, and he has chronic exertional compartment syndrome. And he's had it for 3 years now, and he's gone to many doctors, tried things, and he's trying to avoid the surgery. So I'm wondering what you can see and what advice you may have on how he can go forward and not have that constriction in his calves.
Right.
I would love to do Reiki on him, but he will not let me near him. He's
so cute.
Not in that realm yet. So I'm just wondering if there's any advice you have, or you can see anything in his energy or what he may do. I've also suggested red light to him. Not sure if he's going to do that either, but just a question. And thank you so much for everything you do for the world. I just adore you.
Aww.
Enjoy your day. And I'll be listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. And I'm so sorry about your son's contraction of his muscles. So I've only seen compartmental syndrome that's happened like during an accident. So what happens if people get some forced trauma into their muscle, the muscle will contract so badly it will cut off circulation, and doctors have to do it's called a fasciotomy. I can't remember in this moment, but they have to cut into the tissue, into the muscle to release the pressure. So this can happen too from over exercising or using certain muscles for long periods of time, and it's usually relieved if it's not an accident. It's not crushing trauma. It's usually relieved with physical therapy, but it sounds like in your son's case that hasn't happened, and now his doctors are recommending surgery. So I have another idea, especially since you live in my state. I know about the practitioners that live here. You'll have to write into the website, mariemanuchehri.com or manuchehri@gmail.com or energyintuitive.com, and ask for the master muscle activator that I refer clients to. He lives in Washington State, but in Bellevue, so not too far from Auburn. I mean, it is a little bit of a trick, but not very far. And his name is Eric. I don't remember his last name right now, but Eric has worked with professional athletes for years and regular folk too. And so he's really good at helping people who have injuries, a lot of injuries in their body where they've overused certain muscles and they're not using other muscles. So I think he could help your son train him to train his muscles to work differently so we can get some relief from those muscles. And if for some reason he can't, he's going to be, really qualified to help you get even the right physician or surgeon to make sure that this is done appropriately, if it's necessary, at the right time, things of that nature. So if you write into the website, then my assistant, Caitlin, will give you that information. So just know that people who contract their muscles a lot, right? Because that's what's happened. He's over contracted his muscles in his calf. And now they're having, and it's bilateral, which I think is fascinating. They're having issues. They're having problems. They're not recovering. They're exhausted. They're not recovering. So it's actually a sign of even part of his personality. And when I say personality, because I believe a lot of people aren't who they really are. Like they learn a pattern, based on certain experiences they've had in past life experiences. And then we think that's who they are. That's their personality. But it really isn't. As people grow and become more self-aware, they change. They're different. I used to be extremely shy. I'm not shy anymore. But I would have never even considered a podcast or teaching online or in person or, never. Would have never been something I would have considered. So your son in his contraction of his muscles shows us that he's contracted as a human being. He's not open-minded. He's stubborn, extremely stubborn. And so we want, hopefully, and I know, he's an adult now and he gets to make his own decisions, but we want that to subside with him because he's even having physical issues from his lack of being open and maybe reflective and even just questioning things that his mind tells him, no, don't listen to that. Don't bother doing that. Don't do, we want him to be, well, that's kind of interesting. That kind of feels good. I'm going to try that, or I'm going to go research that a little bit more. That's what needs to happen to him. And perhaps when this is all cleared up for him, that could help him to become less contracted, especially if some sort of holistic measure helps him in whatever way. Like even if he just, if it turns out that he needs the surgery or he's already had it, if this was, you left this message months ago, even the red light therapy can help him heal faster, right? So we want his personality to not be so black and white, not so right and wrong, but to be a little gray. And so that's what I would tell him. Honey, you need to become a little bit more gray. You're a little too black and white. And as his mother, because I can read your energy, you are way too nice to your kid. You know that? You let your kid kind of run the show. And I know he's an adult. He gets to make all his own decisions, which is beautiful. But I think you need to be a little bit more forceful. I think, you need to remind him first and foremost, he has a wonderful mother. He's very lucky. He's been loved, adored, and cherished. I would remind him. I sometimes remind my children, you're very lucky I'm your mom, because sometimes kids forget and they get a little bit too sure of themselves or less appreciative of the wonderful people in their life, and they can take people for granted. So I would remind your son how fortunate he is to have you as a mother And then after you've shocked him with that and say, and by the way, you need to be a little bit gray in your thinking. Have a nice day. I love you so much. That's what I think would be helpful for him, because that's what we need to do. We need to get his mind to not be so locked in right and wrong or black and white or, whatever metaphor you want to use to describe his contraction of his state, not just his muscles, but his state of consciousness. Okay, well, thank you everyone for listening, and have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.